Welcome back. We are returning from our executive session now to our public part of the meeting. And I'd like to open the meeting with our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we move on to our administrator remarks. Ms. Gosh.
Thank you. Good evening. You may remember that in November, Mrs. Karen Deacon and I presented to you on the current state of our English as a New Language program. At the conclusion of that presentation, we shared that we would be conducting some additional research as well as consulting with some regional resources and be getting back to you in the near future. So since then, Mrs. Deacon has done an extensive amount of data gathering on the current progress of our students. We also met with two representatives from the Hudson Valley Arbor. It's a regional bilingual educational resource network, and they're the intermediaries between the state ed department and districts, and they advise us on a number of issues. We will be meeting with a larger E&L advisory group the day we get back from break, and if possible, we would just like to report back to you at the January 9th board meeting. Second is our Science Task Force. So we have our first meeting of the K-12 Science Task Force next week. So thank you to those parents who are able to attend and reached out to do that. We need to be able to stagger these meetings, as you know, during the school day as much as possible in order to maximize teacher participation. However, we will be looking for additional ways to accommodate those parents and guardians who are not able to attend during the workday through focus groups, surveys, and hopefully some online options for parents to attend the meetings virtually. So if anyone is still interested in joining or has additional ideas on how to increase parent participation, please feel free to contact me. And finally, Mrs. Horler and I were brainstorming about several items, how we're meeting the needs of all learners, what the SCP looks like in action at the high school from a programmatic perspective, the implications of ESSA, which we're learning more about next week, and the accountability attached to that, and really just the overall direction of Brewster High School. So what we'll be doing is we're really looking to revision what Brewster High School will look like within the next 5 years. We have an initial planning meeting next week with the liaisons of the high school, as well as we asked them to bring a friend from their department, so we'll have a representative group of teachers to start. And then, of course, once we leave that planning meeting, we'll expand out into the new year, asking parents and students to attend. So stay tuned for more information on what we're calling Brewster High School 2023. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Carlson?
Good evening. We'll be continuing our Budget 101 workshop series tomorrow night over at the Brewster High School ILC, starting at 6:30. The topic of tomorrow night's Budget 101 workshop is salaries and benefits, which, as we all recall, make up the majority of our budget, so it's an important one. This will also serve as our first Budget Advisory Committee meeting, so we've sent out notices to the community, hoping for people to join. We're still open and accepting applications to join our Budget Advisory Committee meeting, or excuse me, our Budget Advisory Committee. And that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Good evening, board trustees. I want to congratulate Ms. Danielle Racine and Michelle Sassone, who are fourth grade teachers at CV Star Intermediate School, for having their picture compliments of Jen Gary, our Putnam Northern Westchester Wilson's communications specialist, appeared in the New York State School Boards Association onboard newspaper, which is circulated throughout the state of New York, and it shows them in an ELA class, and you wouldn't believe this is an ELA class because they have, surgical gear on. They were actually learning how to connect nonfiction text features to a body of text. So they had a cutout of a body, and they were connecting those nonfiction features to that body, and I thought that was really awesome, and it certainly is, a point of pride for our school district that, this kind of creativity and risk-taking is happening among our educators. So I wanted to thank them for doing that, and they're a great co-teacher partnership at CV Star. I also want to congratulate Ms. Jess McCann who's one of our school counselors at the high school. She was selected as the New York State School Counselor of the Year in 2017, and she will be representing, or has been invited to represent, New York State at the American Association of School Counselors annual gala in Washington, D.C. on February 1st. Ms. McCann will be honored formally along with the newly chosen School Counselor of the Year, so that's really a wonderful recognition and an opportunity for Jess McCann, who does a wonderful job in the school district, to be there to receive this honor and to be part of that ceremony. We had our SCP Facebook Live talk or chat here, and I want to thank Mr. Castellano and Mr. Talor for making that possible. It's an opportunity to reach out to more of our parents and community members who can't be here. Ms. Gosh saw this in her travels and said, you know, this would be a great way for us to engage with our public, so we'll use them for the SCP talks as well as for our Budget 101 talk, so we'll have that equipment set up tomorrow night at the ILC. Our SCP Snapshots, which are our short videos that, again, Mr. Triller's department, Mr. Whalen, and our Ms. Donna McAlpin actually edit the videos, and these are just 5-minute snapshots of examples of how the 5 SCP skills are being integrated into curriculum instruction, assessment, professional learning, and the learning environment. So the next set will be added to our website, and I hope that you take the opportunity to take a look at them and be bedazzled by the learning that's going on in our classrooms. And I want to thank those teachers who volunteer, who trust us when we say we're coming in, not to be critical, but just to see what the learning and the integration looks like, and we do that, and so we honor and respect them, and so no one's put on the spot or made to feel uncomfortable by our presence there. It could be daunting and overwhelming if you have about 4 of us marching into a classroom, but the children immediately kind of regroup and forget about us, which they should, and go on and do the work that they need to do. So I want to thank the teachers and the administrators for organizing those. I hope that our seniors and our juniors, and I'm hoping that Cameron and Irene take this back. Putnam County government offers summer internships to work in the county over the summer, so I'll email the article that was in the Putnam Courier to you, and hopefully you can get those on the announcement so that juniors and seniors in good standing can take advantage of those opportunities. And our last day before our winter break is December 21st, next Friday. It is a full day. Sorry. Have to have a full day. As you know, New York State regrouped, and so we have to have 900 instructional hours at the K-6 level and 990 instructional hours at the 7 through 12 level. So that means we can't just say go home at 10:10, every time, the day before a break. That counts against us, especially in an environment. I know it's sad. I know, it's very sad. I'm sorry. But it will be a full day, and I'm sure that we'll have a lot of happy children in on that day and staff members. And finally, as we prepare to break for our winter break, our holiday break, I wish everyone happy holidays, happy New Year. May you rest and enjoy and have as much merriment as you can possibly have, and that you do great things for yourselves and your families and others. Lots of great things are happening in our schools. There is a huge toy drive and shoe drive and all kinds of things that are happening across the district. Tons and tons of things are being donated. So the level of care and compassion of our students is just boundless. And I know if you visited the schools, you've seen packs or stacks of things that students have collected. And it warms my heart to see our students and our staff members caring about others during this time, where not everyone is looking forward to the time off. It's not going to be a happy time for everyone, and I know that our students recognize that, and that's evidenced through their efforts to bring some cheer and happiness to others. So happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you. Okay, my turn. So I just wanted to say thank you. Not really an update, but just there are so many forums. I mean, compared to last year, I think we've really taken on a big new thing this year to really offer as many forums on different topics for the community to be engaged in, and task forces and those kinds of things. So I just really encourage the public to get involved. And yeah, and thank you for, putting them on. And then just lastly, also just happy holidays to everyone, and wishing everyone the best in the new year. And we'll see you again in January 9th, I think, is our next meeting. Yeah, so a little break in between. But that's it for me. So now we move on to our student representatives.
Hello, everyone. Let me sit here. My convention took place today. In my opinion, it was a great success. Many students reached out to tell me that they learned so much about homelessness in our country and town specifically, and they're now inspired to make a difference in a positive way for the community itself. The band, chorus, and orchestra concert takes place on the 17th. The Mamma Mia cast list came out, and rehearsals are going to start soon for the play. The day of service was also a great success. It was last Friday. Many high schoolers signed up and went to CB Star and JFK and made crafts and built a stronger bond throughout the community. Mu Alpha Theta's adoptive family wrapped up today, and presents are going to be distributed to the families in the next 2 weeks that the Mu Alpha Theta students collected for them.
And some more announcements. We have the giving tree in the lobby of the high school that Science Honor Society has started for underprivileged families in Putnam County, where students put on the tree or take off the tree a gift that they can get for family in need. Winter sports have started, so that means basketball, skiing, swimming, what are some more? Winter track. Those sports have all started and are underway, so we're excited for our athletes during the sports season. Science Honor Society Recycle Roundup is still in effect, where every Mondays and Thursdays, I believe it is, where the students go around and collect water bottles or paper to recycle. And the National Honor Society Craft Fair, or the
The National Art
National
Honor
Art Honor Society Craft Fair is starting up next week, and where they sell artwork that all Honor Society students make. So you always see the students hard at work after school, working on clay things, paintings, drawings, all that type of good stuff. And their funds go to the museum trip and the California Fire Help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we move on to our presentations, recognition, discussion, and we have Nick Haywood Jr. at Brewster High School Eagle Scout project presentation. Welcome.
Thank you. Everyone, I'm Nick Haywood. I'm a junior in Brewster High School. I'm a Life Scout as a member of Brewster Troop 1. I'm working towards my rank of Eagle, and part of the project is I have to organize and do a service project for a nonprofit organization of my choice. I want to help out the school district, and I'm here tonight to ask for your approval. So what I want to do is I want to do landscaping area around the sign. The sign right now, it's on the intersection of Farm to Market Route 312. It's a nice location. A lot of people are going to see it when they're driving by, either coming to school, coming from school to their houses. But the big problem I see with it, the sign blends into the school. The red brick on red brick color scheme, you can see it in the picture there, or if you're viewing over there. The sign, the only part that really stands out is the black. The sign, it blends into Wells Middle School behind it. There's not much contrast in it. It also doesn't help if the sign, if you can't really see it that well, it doesn't help the announcements get displayed as well. So what I plan to do is I plan to do some landscaping. 3 trees, one on each side and one behind the sign, to help bring some contrast to the sign. I want to plant a few shrubs in front of the sign to make it look nice. I'm going to lay down landscaping fabric to prevent weeds from coming up and mulch the area so that the trees and shrubs can grow nice and tall. And I want to finish the project with the unilock stone border. I have the stone over here. So hopefully I'm going to. The stone will not be anywhere near this faded. This is from my Eagle Scout project coach, Mr. Perry Bruno. This has been sitting in his yard for 10 years. It's going to look much more vibrant than this. I'm looking for your approval tonight so I can get this started as soon as possible. I expect to finish around May 2019, give or take a month or two. I expect this to cost around $2,500. I have to fundraise all of the money. The district can't donate money in any way to this project. I have to do this all myself. This is the Boy Scouts of America's rules, not my group's personal rules. And district, you guys have the final say on what trees I plant, what shrubs I plant, because after a meeting with Mr. Bates and Dr. Hanning and Mr. Carlson, they informed me that the DEA has to approve whatever is planted onto the property. And with that, I have some greenery. I was informed by Mr. Bates about the green pillar pin oak tree. It grows up to maximum height of like 50 feet and has a spread of about 15 feet. The trees I discussed with Mr. Bates, the dogwood trees, they have a height range from 10 to 25 feet. They are flowering. It also helps make it look nice. Spread 25 feet. I'm going to try and make sure that's at the top and not covering the sign. I don't want to obstruct the view of the sign in any way, shape, or form. I want to help it, not hurt it. And for the shrubs, the boxwood shrubs, I expect the shrubs to grow no higher than the bottom of the sign, which is roughly 3 feet. And that is the entirety of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
I think it's an awesome idea. You know, it is like bland there, you know, and, you know, the fact that Nick, you know, thought about this, me passing the sign and seeing that as an opportunity for him to, you know, use his service as a scout to beautify is a pretty cool concept.
I think it's great, and you can come to my house when you're
So he's looking for your approval.
I'm looking for the approval of the board. Please tell me it's a yes.
I mean, I don't know how we have to.
I
Vote
don't
on
know
this?
that.
However you approve.
You know what we can, just for the sake of being technically correct, we can add it to one of our action items and we'll vote on it in a few short moments. How about that?
All right.
We'll make it the first item.
Okay.
Okay,
This is I'm done here. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, So Nick, if you just have a seat and wait for a few, like about 5 or so minutes, I think you'll have a resolution.
Okay, so thank you. So now I just move on to our public remarks prior to our, specifically to our action items. And I just wanted to, in our efforts to improve our board meetings and be consistent in our efforts in how we run our meetings, I've worked on a statement with some help from the board, just to read prior to public remarks, just kind of the rules and things so we can always make sure we're all on the same page with things. So if you just bear with me. I'd like to open this time now to public comment specific to only the action items below. As a reminder, public comment is not required at a board meeting, which is for the board to conduct the business of the district, but we do believe public comment can be helpful to the board to both share in the successes of our district and to resolve issues affecting our district. However, public comment is effective only if the comments are concise and delivered with respect and common courtesy to everyone present. We ask the following 3 rules be followed. First, all those who wish to comment must do so from the podium and must state their name. Second, speakers will have 2 minutes to comment. At 2 minutes, speakers will be prompted to finish their thought. Third, all those present will be respectful to those speaking at the podium. All comments are to be directed to the board. This time is for comment only. Any questions asked may be answered at the discretion of the board at the close of the public comment period. If the board meeting becomes unruly at any point of the meeting, members of the audience may be asked to leave or a recess may be called. So having read that, are there any public comments specifically related to the action items on the agenda for today? If so, you may come up at this time. Please come up to the podium.
Hi,
I'm Connie Hussey, and I'd like to start with, I hope his project gets approved.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. I will close the public comment portion. We move on to action items. I need to get a motion to amend our agenda and add a, maybe a .5 we'll call it. The approval of our Nick Haywood Eagle Scout project presentation for the district. I need a motion and a second to add that to our action items. So Terry and Glenn is my second, and we've added that to the agenda. Let me just write this down. Okay. And now I just, we've had our presentation. I just need a motion and a second to vote on it. Need a motion, Diane, and a second, Eric. Okay, are there any questions? Any additional comments?
I vote for the dog ones.
Okay, so now we just go to a vote. All those in favor of this project? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six. All those opposed? See none. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
One question.
You gotta pass this down.
Oh, no. Okay, I need to get a signature for my project. When should I get that?
From
do you have-
Mr. Carlson?
Sure.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Could the two gentlemen here who are his support team, would you like to introduce yourselves and say who you are?
I'll start by saying I'm Nick's dad, Stan Haywood, and I'm behind Nikki 100%, and I've been a leader since Nikki has been a Cub Scout. And keeping them involved in scouting programs is what keeps them out of trouble and busy. And it's a really good program that, you know, teaches them a lot of life skills. So we're right behind them 100%. Thank you.
I'm Perry Barino. I'm Nick's Eagle coach. I'm the committee chair for Brewster Troop 1, and I've been with the troop for about 20 years. So, and we've done many projects for the Brewster community, including another one for the school system a long time ago, my son's. So, I'm sure you'll be happy with the results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we move on to action item number 1, approval of 2018 extended school year and 2018-19 school year instructional services contract with Dover USSD.
Yes, these are two contracts for the same student who attends Brewster schools from the Dover School District. We have one student that we accept as a non-resident student. That's through the CSE process with Ms. Kennedy.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion, please. Eric, and a second, Diane. Any questions or comments on this action item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Move on to action item number 2, approval of resolution for Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES estimated expense proposal for superintendent search. Okay. It's on here, right? Hold on, my thing shut down. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so if you look at the attachment, just to go over it briefly, what they did, they forwarded, because we're at that point in the search now that the submissions need to go out everywhere for the advertisements and the brochures and everything. And they highlighted in yellow their recommendations, which is the bare minimum of what we typically do in a district. You'll see that they, for example, left off to not do the New York Times, which is an $11,000 spend. So we would be approving the items that they're recommending, which are highlighted in yellow. And they deem that the items that they've identified to be the most, have the most traffic in terms of reaching the widest, I guess, Castle and White Net. And that's kind of it. So I guess first we need a motion and a second. Glenn and Carrie, thank you. And are there any questions or comments on any of this? Actually, I'll also comment, the only part that doesn't have the expenses specifically listed right now are the background checks. That happens later once we are in the interviewing process, and we get down to the end there. That expense will show up at that point. And also to mention, these are the only expenses related to using BOCES, because they're already part of the administrative fees, it's already included. So, any other questions or anything? No? Okay. I just want to, sorry. Yeah, and then the resolution that we're approving is, just reads, resolved, the Board of Education accepts the estimated expense proposal for the superintendent of school searches presented by Putnam Northern Winchester BOCES. Okay. Okay. So seeing no other questions or comments, all those in favor? The motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Okay. Now you're on to action item number 3, approval of intermunicipal agreement, IMA, with Town of Southeast regarding transportation services.
Yes, this is related to the ski club that the Southeast Recreation Department runs, and the school district provides transportation to, that's not, is it Thunder Ridge?
Yes.
I was going to say Birch.
It used to be.
That would date me, Thunder Ridge.
Okay, may I have a motion, please? Eric, and a second, Kristen. Any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Action item number 4, approval of change order number GC-001 for district office renovation project.
This is a change order for the district office renovation project in the amount of $3,700. It was for the contractor to install perforated footing drain pipe. This was identified during the project closeout as we've completed the project.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion and a second, please. Kristen and Glenn, thank you. Any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Number 5, acceptance of donation memorabilia for Wells Middle School Library.
Here we'd like to thank the family of Ronald Schmidt, a former teacher at Wells Middle School, who the family offered to donate yearbooks and other memorabilia that was stored by Mr. Schmidt.
Okay, thank you. Motion and a second, please. Carrie and Diane. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Number 6, acceptance of New York State grant and aid and approval of budget amendment number 12.
Yes, we were fortunate to receive a $10,000 aid grant from New York State, and we'd like to thank Senator Murphy for his assistance in helping us acquire that grant, which will be used to offset the cost of the new JFK school council.
Thank you. Motion and a second, please. Eric and Kristen, thank you. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Senator Murphy.
Thank you, yes. Okay, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Number 7, approval of NYSER's standard workday reporting resolution.
This is an annual resolution that the board is required to create a standard workday for appointed officials who are not covered by a terms and conditions agreement or a collective bargaining agreement. And this only applies to one individual, the tax collector for the town of Southeast, who collects taxes on our behalf, and we pay that person through a stipend.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I need a motion and a second. Carrie and Glenn, thank you. And any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Number 8, approval of policies. Second read, 4773, diploma or credential options for students with disabilities. 4774, participation in graduation ceremonies and activities. 9150, student staff relations fraternization.
Yes, thank you. These policies have been reviewed by legal counsel and our policy committee, and we submit them to you for your secondary approval.
Thank you very much. I need a motion, please. Diane, and a second. Eric? Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Move on to our consent agenda. If everyone's had time to review, I just need a motion. Kristen, and a second. Carrie?
I have to recuse myself from the consent agenda voting.
Okay. Do we have any?
I'll take a look at a couple
Yeah.
comments.
Okay.
We finally were able to appoint a probationary music teacher to replace Ms. Ono. So it was a very talented strings teacher, Mr. Davey, so we welcome him on aboard. Our residency officer, Mr. Art Holtzman, is a retired educator from our district who happens to be an administrator, is being appointed on this agenda. We have a few teaching assistants. We also have a promotion of, we like to promote where we can internally, so we're happy to promote Ms. Denise Galgano, who was a lead replacement teacher, who has become a special educator at the high school in the career skills classroom, which expanded. So now Ms. Barnes has a partner in Ms. Galgano to make that classroom even more successful. So we congratulate her for that appointment. And there's some other appointments to before school programs. Again, we do all that we can during the course of the school day to ensure that before the school day starts and after, to provide extra opportunities for children to learn or to engage in activities. So one of those appointments is to our Jason after school program. As you know, we're using Jason for free this year, so Ms. Tangretti and Ms. Gil Martin are part of that program and offering more STEM opportunities to children at CD Star. And I believe there was a letter already circulated through VAERS Backpack announcing to parents how they can sign their children up for that. We also have, as you know, on this agenda, we appoint student teachers, so we're happy to always have them here available. The others are some pretty standard. We've appointed a volunteer here as well. And I'd like to congratulate Ms. Karen Thompson, who's a clerical aide, who's retiring effective December 31st. So best of luck, Ms. Thompson. Congratulations, and I hope you have a very happy retirement. And that's the extent of our consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
The effective date, she's retiring this year? Or
Let's see here.
2019?
Let's look at that date again.
I just wanted
I'm
to
sorry,
clarify
I didn't see the 19. It is, thank you for
The
pointing
19,
that out.
okay.
It's
I
next
just
year,
wanted to
December
make sure it
31st of
wasn't-
next year.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. It's a good catch. It would be surprising to her.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? No. Okay, so all those in favor of the consent agenda? 5. All those opposed? All those abstaining? 1. And the motion passes 5 with 1 abstention. Okay, now we move on to board remarks and updates. Actually, I had a question. How did I know in addition to what they put into print for us, how did them being in district go last week? I think they came in to take pictures or interview our staff with the mindful
Moment room. It was pretty awesome. Many students and staff members participated in that. We don't know when it's going to be available on their website, so that's, I think, the second or third NISBA-related event that our district has been a part of. So it was a huge production, and it's very exciting. It generated a lot of interest, and I think they'll get a lot of interest once it is made available. And it's an awesome concept. We hear about it. We hear people talking about it. So it's, we talk about taking, theoretical concepts, this notion of mindfulness, and actually creating an environment where children can, reset and sort of get themselves back into, a place where they can get into the classroom and continue to learn. So they don't end up in, the in-school resolution room, or they don't end up someplace where, they've lost the whole period. And the children have been regulating themselves, so they know how much time to spend there. And as you know, Mrs. Archer trained, 50, 60 students who are also student attendants during the time that they're in, instead of going to a study hall, for example, they are assigned to the Mindful Moments room along with the staff members. So it's really awesome. I think that about 300 students, the last count, have actually gone to the Mindful Moment room and used it. So that says a lot, when you have that kind of usage, and that children understand what it is and that they're using it. And I think we've had some adults to go there too, that also occasionally need a mindful moment. And you know what? One other thing I just want to mention, that I omitted something on the consent agenda. I see that Danielle O'Brien is appointed as a substitute teacher. I think that's really awesome. She's a very talented math major, and I'm happy that she's here in our district. I met her and had some dealings with her, and I think she's going to do a terrific job. So.
Just a quick update, I guess, we'll bounce it up. Kristen and I met last week to work on the survey regarding the forums we intend on starting next year. Unfortunately, we were hoping to do it a little sooner, but time kind of got away. So we talked about the survey, we talked about doing a trifold handout, and so, we'll be getting that together, sending it out to, let the board see kind of where our line of thinking is. I'm thinking the survey should go out sometime right at the first of the year.
Yeah, I think right when we get back.
Right when we get back, because right now I think it's going to get lost with everything else, with all the holidays and merriment that will hopefully be going on. So the survey is pretty much done and ready to go. We're looking for the community to give their input as to what they'd like to see as some potential topics for the forum. And as far as the that trifold, it's kind of, I guess you'd probably be able to explain it better, because we kind of work together on two different areas, but.
Yeah, we split it up into three sort of sections. The first section being like the mission of the board and our legal responsibilities, and what we're supposed to do as elected officials. Part two was board meetings, what the public can expect in board meetings, what we expect from the public. Kind of reiterating that this is our meeting held in public, and talking about the public's participation and so on and so forth. And the last section, we sort of talked about communication in the chain of command, how to get in touch with the board, when to get in touch with the board. We're not necessarily the first stop at the road, but we definitely are someone, we are a group that can be contacted. So maybe highlighting that a little bit and explaining to the public when to reach out to us.
Okay. All right, good. Sounds like
I missed that meeting, so just let me know.
I know, well, like I said, I figure.
Well, now
I'm
that we
sure
have
I'm
notes,
gonna
you're
sign
going to be
something
writing
that's
everything.
crying work.
Yeah, no, but I mean, we figured, later, at some point, obviously before the new year, we will send out to all of, to see if there's any questions we may have missed, or anything that you think is appropriate to be in the trifold, or any question regarding, before we send it out to the community that you think is, important. So that this way all of us are involved, but, we just kind of all, we started, the ball rolling, we'll go with that.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. We were voluntold.
Anyone else updates?
I just wanted to say, it's not really update, but I wanted to just comment on the volleyball tournament that Coach Castaldo and probably other phys ed teachers orchestrated in the high school, because I think it was a huge success. My daughter participated, so I heard a lot of it from her. But I mean, I heard the stands were full of kids, and I just thought it was a great school spirit building, thing. And I just think when teachers go out of their way to do things like that, it's nice to thank them. So I just wanted to mention that. My daughter's team did not win, despite the fact that they had matching shirts.
Just one more thing, and I don't remember if we talked about this at the last meeting, because all of my dates are starting to blur now that we're in the holiday season. The PTAs held a thank you sort of ceremony reception for Senator Murphy, because he has been so generous to the district. And it went off without a hitch. It was wonderful. The PTA was there from elementary, from middle school, high school, SEPTA, and we gave him some nice, some honorary gifts. We made him an honorary bear and gave him some mementos, and the kids did an outstanding, when I say outstanding job of reading the letters that they wrote to him, of just singing his praises, making a proclamation for him. So I think he was very appreciative. And he was very gracious, and he said he was going to help us meet up his successor, and we'll continue having a nice relationship, hopefully.
Great. Okay. So now we move on to our public remarks. This is for any topic that anyone would like to come up and discuss. Same rules apply, I don't need to read it again, but if anyone has anything they'd like to say, please feel free to come up.
Evening, my name is Scott Seaman. On behalf of the Performing Arts Boosters, I want to support the school district and the board here for getting us a replacement for Miss Ono. I've already heard great things about him. I believe they suckered him into doing all kinds of things already, being the new guy. With the wrestling program, Alex Goldberg just had his 100th victory, so it's pretty big. People in the wrestling world know it takes a lot, and it's good to see somebody else coming forward. And she's not here now, but our student representative, Irene Kubinick, did that presentation on homelessness, where the sophomores and juniors volunteered, and they went through a 3 or 4 period to school, and they learned a lot more, because right now, I know over at there's 4 local churches that start up the Brewster Mercy Shelter Program, and they rotate week to week, and they just started because of the weather. It exists in our community, it's in our town, it's around here, and it goes on, so it's good that the kids see it and they realize what's going on. And to plug a little for the Emergency Shelter Program, they're always looking for volunteers, they need people to help. Of course, donate money, food, clothes. They're looking for volunteers at the various locations. They need people to help staff them, clean them, and people volunteered also to sleep overnight with the groups to make sure everything's gone, and just wanted to let that out there. Thank you.
Yeah, break protocol. Can I comment on that for 1 second? Is that okay? I normally would, but Scott, I'm helping with the shelter as well, and it's a great way if you have kids to get the kids to volunteer, because you can cook a meal, bring it to the shelter, and your kids can come and help serve. And you're not in a kitchen, it's stuff that you bring in yourself, but it's great for kids to see of all ages. And I'm not just talking high school kids, but the young ones too. So I just wanted to give that a plug as well. Sorry.
Okay, anyone else?
I just would like to say Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no additional comments, I will close that comment portion. And I think that's it. Yeah, we have executive session. I need a motion. We have interview of our business official position taking place. I need a motion and a second. Carrie and Diane. Thank you very much. All those in favor? 6-0 to adjourn to executive session. I will comment that no action will be taken in public, so we will be just closing the meeting after that, or in private. No action will be taken. So thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you after the new year.